An AI-generated post for your viewing pleasure. AI in elections, a wake-up call for democracy. Artificial intelligence in elections isn't just about efficiency. It's now about ethics, accountability, and the very fabric of democracy. Recent research uncovers a troubling trend. Deceptive AI practices are undercutting public trust, sparking demands for stringent regulation, yet political parties face no real consequences. This poses an urgent question. How do we ensure that democracy thrives in an era dominated by sophisticated technology? Before we get into the details of the research findings, let's lay a foundation for our discussion. Artificial intelligence has burst onto the political scene, capturing headlines and stirring up debates in equal measure. With every election cycle, politicians and campaigns are increasingly exploring how AI can amplify their messages, target voters, and ultimately secure victories. However, the consequences of these technological applications are far from well understood. A recent paper by researchers Andreas Jungherr, Adrian Rachfleisch, and Alexander Wuttke delves into this pressing issue, examining the societal ramifications of AI in electoral processes. Their study aims to shed light on public opinions surrounding AI use in elections, and how these opinions vary based on the nature of the AI application. As political manipulation through technology becomes more sophisticated, residents of democratic societies are left to grapple with complex questions about ethics and governance that come with AI. From targeting ads to generating personalized messages, AI is not just transforming how elections are run, it's shaping the very possibilities of democratic engagement. This study provides vital data and observations on how a new generation of voters views the intersection of AI and politics as we stand at the precipice of an upcoming election cycle. Now let's unpack the subject at hand. This research focuses on three distinct types of AI applications in electoral campaigns: campaign operations, voter outreach, and deception. Campaign operations refers to AI tools that help manage and optimize campaign functions, such as content generation and resource allocation. Voter outreach involves using AI to tailor messages and strategies that engage potential voters effectively. Most critically, deception encompasses practices that mislead the public, such as deepfakes and automated social media manipulation. Understanding these terms lays crucial groundwork as we explore the findings of the study. What the researchers found is that public sentiment is predominantly negative towards AI in elections, especially when it's deemed deceptive. The study's participants were clear about their disdain for deceptive practices, highlighting a societal demand for accountability and regulation of AI applications. However, it's important to note that the study's findings may be somewhat U.S.-centric, raising questions about how cultural and political differences in other countries might influence public perceptions and the need for tailored regulatory measures. These unique findings will take us into a deeper exploration of how AI is perceived in political campaigns and why this matters for our democratic processes. Now that we've introduced the key concepts and the significance of AI in elections, let's take a closer look at the research findings and the methodologies used to gather this compelling data. The researchers conducted a pre-registered representative survey involving 7,635 participants across multiple studies. Their findings illuminated several critical points. First, Americans largely perceive AI's applications in elections negatively, especially in cases of deception, think deepfakes and fake social media posts. The study classified IUs into three categories: campaign operations, voter outreach, and deception. Participants expressed the strongest objections to deceptive practices, seeing them as serious violations of ethical norms. Second, the survey discovered a significant shift in public sentiment once deceptive AI uses were highlighted. Exposure to this form of manipulation not only heightened concerns, but also fueled calls for stricter regulations and an outright ban on AI technologies. Interestingly, those manipulated by deceptive AI practices showed a marked increase in support for oversight of all AI applications, underscoring the potential widespread impact of these practices on societal attitudes. However, it is crucial to consider potential biases in how public attitudes were measured. Self-reported opinions may not accurately reflect genuine sentiments. Variables such as the wording of survey questions and social desirability biases could skew results. This means that the study's consensus on AI use might not hold true in real-life scenarios, which raises questions about the practical applicability of the proposed regulatory measures. Moreover, as we've seen in other sectors such as marketing and public health, applying this classification system can offer tailored regulatory responses that enhance public trust and engagement with technology. Therefore, a structured approach could establish clearer pathways for how various sectors can evolve their engagement with AI, signaling that responsible AI deployment is essential across the board, not just in politics. Yet, the study falls short of providing actionable recommendations for addressing these pressing issues. The authors call for systematic monitoring and regulatory oversight, but there is a lack of concrete strategies for implementation. Without specific methodologies or guidelines, it becomes challenging for policymakers to translate these calls into actionable policy. As the forthcoming U.S. presidential election is projected to heavily reflect public sentiment regarding AI, this gap may hinder the potential for effective regulation aimed at curbing deceptive practices. Having established these foundational findings, we can now shift our focus to the broader ramifications of this study and how it connects to existing research on AI in elections and public opinion. This research connects with ongoing debates around the ethical use of technology in political campaigning. Just as other studies have documented the dangers posed by AI, such as misinformation and surveillance, this new work emphasizes how these problems are exacerbated in electoral environments. Moreover, it highlights the role of partisan identity in shaping the perception of AI. Despite widespread disapproval of deceptive practices, party loyalty leads supporters to overlook unethical behaviors by their preferred candidates. This phenomenon raises urgent questions about accountability and democratic integrity in an age when technology can easily distort reality. This observation aligns with the notion that motivated partisan reasoning can create barriers to ethical standards in campaigns, which was notably reflected in the study's findings. To navigate these complexities, we need regulatory approaches tailored to different AI applications, allowing beneficial uses to flourish without ignoring the deception that can undermine democratic principles. The societal call for more effective regulation of AI usage in political environments aligns with a broader need for establishing standards that protect democratic integrity and citizen agency. However, we must also recognize that public demand for regulation is not uniform across cultures. Countries characterized by varying political climates may have distinct responses to AI usage in elections, necessitating a strategy that considers local values and norms. By creating regulations that are mindful of these distinctions, society could foster an environment where meaningful engagement with AI enhances democratic participation rather than detracts from it. This approach helps ensure that diverse socio-political environments can implement tailored regulations, striking a balance between innovation and protection. The evidence is clear. Artificial intelligence has the potential to reshape electoral politics dramatically. However, as we've seen, its applications in deceptive practices pose significant risks to the health of our democracy. The rising public concern surrounding these tactics emphasizes a crucial need for oversight and accountability. As we continue in this digital age, we must critically assess how AI influences our political systems. It's vital for voters to remain informed and for policymakers to actively engage in discussions about the ethical use of AI in elections. We must address the methodological limitations of current research to ensure that regulatory calls are based on a complete understanding of public sentiment. The stakes are high and the journey ahead is uncertain, but by maintaining open dialogues, focusing on ethical standards, and integrating diverse cultural viewpoints, we can work towards a future where AI enhances political engagement without risking the integrity of our electoral processes. Thanks for joining us today as we navigate the intricate and important relationship between AI and democracy.